All right, so you should be seeing my screen and hopefully you can hear me okay as well. Sorry, it's not quite as ready as I thought it was. All right, hopefully you're seeing the screen. So we're going to talk today about the Moxi Present, which Moxi Present is basically, think of it as being the CMA program / listing presentation information. It's going to be all that kind of stuff. It's just listing presentation along with and when I say listing presentation, meaning the handouts and stuff like that. So where we're going to start is just how do you access it? So the way that you're going to access the Moxi Present is first you're going to go to 21online.com, which you can see I've done that here, and then you're going to log in, which I've already logged in to 21 Online. So once you log in, it's going to land you on this page. Now, if for some reason you have never logged into 21 Online before, then what's going to happen is it's the first time you log in, it's going to ask you a bunch of questions. And the idea behind that is that it's going to figure out how to design your dashboard here on 21 Online. But once you've gone through that, and you can skip it and do it later, the next step is I typically click on this menu bar right here and then scroll down to where you'll see Productivity Hub. Once you click on the Productivity Hub, that's going to then bring you into all of the different resources you're going to use. So pretty much anytime that I am going to be doing anything in 21 Online, I pretty much always end up just logging into or going to the Productivity Hub, which gives you access to everything. So from there, this is in alphabetical order. You're going to scroll down till you get to the Moxi Present. You're going to click on Go to Moxi, and you'll notice on these it says Go to Moxi here and over there as well. So really any of them that you click on is going to take you to this same page. So whether you clicked on Moxi Engage, Moxi Present, Moxi Impress, they're all going to bring you to this same spot right here. Once you have landed on the page here, then you're going to come up here at the top and you're going to click on Present. So this is how we're going to get into Moxi Present. So by clicking on the Moxi Present, that's now going to load this page for us. And of course, it's going to take a minute. There we go. So from within this Moxi Present, you have three different options up here. So this is the My Presentations. There's a spot for team presentations or brokerage presentations. You'll pretty much always just be ended up using this My Presentations section. And then you can see down here, here's some of the ones that I have created in the past. So the system is going to remember the ones that you've done so you can go back and find them later on. But the process for us, if we want to go through and create a new one, is we're just going to come up here to this top right where it shows Create New right here. You're going to click on Create New, and then you're going to choose from the different presentation types that are available. So you'll see we've got seller here, a property review, which that's a new one that they've added, a buyer tour, the buyer, or a non-listing. So most of the time, you're probably going to use this as you're going to do the seller. But just so you know, you do have this property review, buyer tour, buyer, and non-listing. Okay? So I'm just going to click on seller. I'm going to click continue. That's going to now bring me to the templates that are available. So within the system, there are brokerage templates. And then if I click on this drop down here, you'll see there are my templates and then Century 21 real estate. So for right now, the company has not gone through and created very many. In fact, there's only one on there under the brokerage templates. So you're going to want to click on the Century 21 real estate. And then from there, you'll notice it's got a commercial listing presentation, a find homes and estate presentation, find homes and estate presentation for a tablet, the national residential listing presentation, and a Spanish language residential presentation. So you're just going to decide from these ones which one that you want. Typically, I'm going to recommend that you probably want to do this national residential listing presentation. That's going to give you access to the most information. So I'm going to click on that to select this 55 pages and then click on continue. The next step that it's asking is, who is this being prepared for? So you're just going to type in there who it's prepared for, and I'm just going to put class on June 1st, 2023. Okay, and then your listing source. If for some reason you had access to more than one MLS, it would give you that here, but I'm pretty sure everybody just has access to one. So you're just going to leave it with what it is. You're going to decide between the presentation design as, do you want the classic or the luxury? And then as far as the square footage and a price per square foot, do you want it to show total square footage, total finished, or just the above grade? So typically in Utah, most of everything that we do is always going to be total square footage. So you would just leave it on that. You're going to click create. And what the system is going to do now is it is going to create this listing presentation for me, but it looks like it's being really slow for some reason. So there we go. Now it's at least started. All right. So now that it's brought up this, it's created the presentation for that particular person. In this case, I named it class on June 1st. So it's created the presentation there for that person, which you can see I could change that if I needed to change the name here. The next step is you're just basically going to go from this subject property, then you're going to go to search, listings, estimate, and then the pages. So the first step under the subject property is you're going to decide, do I have an old MLS number that I can plug in here? And if you do, you would just type in the MLS number. If not, you're going to come down here and put in the address, the city, the state, all of that information. You're going to plug all the information about the property in here. So you can see where that's where it's nice if you actually do have an MLS, because I can just click on it. I'm just going to grab this top one here and click copy. And what you'll notice that it's going to do now is it has gone out based on that MLS number. It's grabbed a picture of the property. It's plugged in the address of the property. It's put on where it shows up here on the map. It's got all the information about the different features. It actually even grabbed the old MLS remarks, which if you wanted to use, great. Or you can replace it with default comments. So I'm just going to say, yeah, do that so that we can see what that does here. But again, you probably don't necessarily need any comments in here because this is just for your CMA. But if you wanted to have some in there, you could do that and just, come in here and change out whatever you want it to say. It has grabbed the, based on that MLS number, what the current status of the property was and how many days on market, that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to click on continue. So again, if you didn't have an MLS number, you would go through and plug in an address and all that information into here. Once you've done that, you're now just going to click on continue here. And so you can see it's moved us now from the subject property to now we're into the search section of this. So this is where we would go to actually grab properties for a CMA if we wanted to do that. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. One would be that you just go to the MLS and do your CMA from the MLS. Once you grab those properties from the MLS, you could come over here and click MLS number and then type in MLS numbers that you want to use. Or again, you could do it based on the search here, which I've got the address of the property in here. You can see it's brought up the map. And then from here, what you're just going to do is decide, what information you want to use. And so you'll notice as I zoom out here, it continues to do searches. So it's looking for properties, and you can see it's now brought one up by just zooming out. And the more I continue to zoom out, the more properties it would pull in. Now, the flip side of that is though, you probably don't necessarily want to go, this far. If you're doing a CMA on a property in Centerville, you're probably not going to want to be going into Salt Lake to get comparables. But for whatever this information it has in, you can see that's how far I'm having to go. But it's always going to, the main thing I want you to know here is whatever is showing on the map here is what it's going to be bringing in. So your other option that you have to do that differently is I could do it based on schools and say I want it based on, public or private schools. I could draw, which is typically what I do. And then you have a quick draw or a multi-draw. Multi-draw would be just click, you go click wherever you want it to get. Then you would come here, double click, and then you can see it's now doing a search within just that area, not the whole entire map that I did. Okay. So I'm going to clear that out. The other option you have is you could do a radius from that specific property if you wanted to do that. And that you just click and drag to do the radius. Okay. So let me clear all of these out. So those are going to be your different options as far as deciding on an area. The other things that you're going to do in terms of grabbing properties for this is I can do it through these drop downs here of I can do it based on price. I can do it based on beds and baths in here, which again, you can see that's what based on the property information I had in there, it's saying between 2 and 4 and 1 and 3 baths. Okay, fine. The other is this filters. And so part of what's probably limiting the number of properties coming up is you can see under the filters here, it's only searching for condos, which would make sense because that's what the picture was of the property. But then it's only doing square footage from 2,200 square feet to 2,600. So on a condo, which really that property that I plugged in the MLS, I don't even know where that came from. It just happened to be one that I used apparently. Looked like it's actually probably a townhouse and not a condo. So if I did townhouse with that, let's do apply. And I'm going to zoom back in here because I'm guessing that's going to get us a ton more properties. So if I zoom back in to get closer to the actual property itself, you can see now it's brought up 5 listings within just this map area. So again, you could limit that by doing most of the time, you're probably going to want to do the draw, but you may want to do radius. And again, on radius, you're going to click where you want it, drag it out. Sorry. I'm going to do the radius here, click and drag. So, if you want to do radius, that's how you would go about doing the radius. I'm going to clear that out and we'll just leave the map how I had it on here. So you can see that I've got these 5 properties here now, and it's got 4 of them that are sold and 1 pending property. Now, if there were some actives that met the criteria, it would bring up the actives as well. So again, that's just under these filters. If you wanted to modify some of that a little bit to where, year build, but these are the different options that you have available. So if for some reason though, you do see something that you would like to be able to do filters on to filter it down a little bit more from, you can always click on this help that's down here and ask them to add that. Now it's not going to get added right away, but a lot of times what will happen is as we as a company start to tell them additional filters that we want to have in there, they will then go and get those added so that it'll just be that much more effective for everyone. So just as an FYI on that. But that's the other reason though for me that I usually say you're probably going to want to just go to the MLS and do your searches, grab the properties that you want because you have more options to search there. Then you could come in and just again up here, click on this and type it in. So again, let's just say I'm going to drop this down to like 1,800 square feet. Let's see if that gets us any more. I just want to hopefully be able to grab a property that has some, yeah. So here you can see active is going to show up as green, canceled is in gray. So you can see the different things that are available there. Okay, so you can, as I said, filter that down. I'm gonna put it back to, we'll just go 2,000 and see. I don't want too many, but we want to get a few. Okay, so now that I have gotten the properties here, so the next step along here would be to figure out, okay, do I want to use these properties or not? And you can include all, you can exclude all, but ultimately what you're going to do is go through and say, okay, I want to add that one. And so you'll notice when I hover over it, it's got a plus sign. So I could just say, yep, I want to add that. I want to add that. Maybe I don't want to use a canceled, but we'll just grab a few different ones on here and these couple of pendings so you can see what it does. Okay, so we've got one active, a few solds, and some pendings selected. So once I have gone through and selected the properties, you can see the check marks over here. I'm now going to hit continue. Clicking on the continue is now going to bring me here to this display order. So I can order it by either price high, active to sold, sold to active, low to high on price, days on market, distance. So however you want it sorted, when you are going to finalize this, select from here. So maybe I want to just say, I want to do it based on the distance. So it's going to sort the properties based on the distance from our subject property. And again, you can see now then it's got the subject property here. And then it's got these listings that are showing up there. Okay. So now that I have that selected, again, you could change it to something else. Maybe I want to do it based on sold date instead, whatever it is, however you want to do it. You're going to grab those properties there. Now that I've got that, I'm going to come down here. Oh, actually, sorry, let me back up before I jump out of this. You can see it's got the information here. If you wanted to do some additional adjustments, you could click on this and name an adjustment and then put in either how much more or less that's going to make the property worth based on some of those adjustments. So you could do some adjustments here. And you could change remarks, look at the listing details, any of that stuff, just to point that out, you could take care of there. All right. Now that I've got this though, I'm going to come in over here and click on continue. The next step that it's taking me to here is the estimate. So what it's done now is it's taken based on those properties and any adjustments that I would have done. It's now taking and saying, okay, here's your pricing stats. And it's showing a price based on the average sales would be this. And the price based on the total combined square footage would be this. Here's a listing summary of the properties and then your estimate pricing. So if you want to create a range, you can click on that and then you could do it as a percentage, or you could actually plug in the dollar amounts right there, however you want to do that. But it's going to come up with based on the information, here's an estimated value. And again, you could come in and change this to whatever you want it to do. Whatever you want it to say, you can put some remarks in there and you could, say based upon the seller doing major cleanup or whatever, however you want to do. You could type in some information there. We'll just say 550 is the price. The other thing you can do from here is it's got this estimated net proceeds. So if you're wanting to do a seller's net sheet, you would click on this. That's going to bring up for you to do the net sheet. So you can have it titled, here's net proceeds, the estimated seller's, this estimated seller's price. So we'll just say we did here the 550. I can put in what their mortgage payoff is. We'll just say 350. If they had a second mortgage, we'll just say 100. And then the listing fee, we're going to say 7%. Oh, actually, we'll do 4% and 3% to the selling office. I can go through and put in escrow fees, title insurance, property taxes. If there is a transfer tax, anything that way, put in repairs, HOA fee, just throw some numbers in here. Home warranty, you know, whatever we're wanting to do, I can put those in there, and then you can create some custom ones as well. So I'm just going to say seller paid closing costs, and we'll just say 6,500. And if I wanted to add more, so you can see, I can just go through and create this seller net sheet. And then you can see up at the top here, it's taking what, you know, the seller's estimated costs to get what their net proceeds will be. If I wanted to hide that, I can hide that as well. All right, so once I've gone through, I've worked on my pricing, I've done my net sheet. If you want to do one, then I'm just going to click continue. Once I click on continue, it's now taken me, and you can see again, we've gone through from the subject property to the search, the listings, the estimate, the pages. So if I wanted to go back to any of those, I could just click on subject property or search, and it'll take me back. But now you can see I've got these 54 pages here. So the very first time you go through the system, what you're going to want to do is take these 55 pages and figure out which ones you actually do want to use and the ones you don't want to use. Because my opinion, 55 pages is way too many to take out, either as a, hey, sending this before I show up, or as a leave behind, or as part of your presentation, however you decide to do it. So what you're going to want to do is come over here and just click on each of these pages. So you're just going to take a look at, here's what the cover page is going to look like. If I like it, great. If I don't, click remove to get rid of it. Here's a property summary, which has pulled in a picture of the house. It's got the summary of the information from what we had put in there. So again, if you like it, you want to use it. This is where the agent remarks would show up. So this is where you'd want to go through and type out whatever you wanted to say on your listing presentation about the property, which again, if you like it, leave it. If you don't, remove it. Here's the listing location map. So on this one, it's going to show, here's the subject property. Here's our comparables. It's going to show where they're at on the map here. So you can see where they showed up at on the map. Again, if you like it, keep it. If you want to edit it, you can do that. If you click on edit, it'll show you what options you have to do there. And I'm not going to go through all 55 pages. I'm just going to give you an idea of a few of them. So here's the listing overview, which, so again, you can see it's showing these properties here. And if you had more, they would be showing up there. Again, either delete it, or if you want to edit it, you can do that. A side-by-side comparison, you're going to click on to this is going to where it's going to look more like an appraisal. So again, I just want to give you kind of an idea of some of these things. And like I said, you probably don't want to use all these. So maybe you don't like that when you hit remove. And you can see it deletes it. Here's the listing averages. If you like that, keep it. Not, whatever. Here's a price and days on market graph that would show up. So again, you can see you just would go through and figure out which of these you want to keep, which ones you don't. Here's a pricing analysis. The other one that I did want to show you. So here's our net proceeds. So based on what we had put in, here's the selling price. Here's what the costs were going to be to get the property sold, thus their net proceeds. The rest of this information is going to be, you know, here's the information you have in there, a checklist. So again, make sure you like the checklist if you're going to use it. And if you don't, just delete it. So again, you can see there's some great stuff in here as you go through each of these. You'll just figure out what you want to, which ones you're wanting to use. You know, here's an agent response time is critical, kind of a thing. So you would just go through and figure these out. Now, so after you've gone through and done all of that, so what I would recommend is that you go through and figure out which of these pages you're going to want to use on most of the time, and then get the rest of them deleted. Once you've done that, you're going to come down here and do save as a template, and then you're going to name it as and what type of a template you want it to be named as. So again, if I were just say class June 21, or not 21, June 1st, 2023, I can decide, do I want it to show up as all whatever seller? So I'm just going to save that. Now, the next time I go through, I would have that as a template to choose from so that I don't have to go through and delete all of the pages again. So you can see it's gonna take the first time through, you're gonna have to go through and decide, do you like it, do you not? Once you've done that and saved it, then you can have it and go through and modify that one to either remove a few pages or whatever you decide that you want to do. Done. So now that I've got that, you can see it's got two different options up here. There's a web view or a print view. The web view would be if you're going to email this or send it to somebody. The print view, if I click on it, is going to do this assuming you're wanting to print it. So now that I've got that, you'll see I've got this print that shows up here to where I can now print this off so that I could actually take it out. If you are, like I said, wanting to email it, you'd leave it on web view and you're going to do this click to send an email. So that's essentially the Moxi Present system. So any questions that you guys have on that I maybe didn't cover or that you didn't understand? Or maybe nobody's been listening the whole time, you've just been watching me click. All right, well, thank you all for being here. That gives you an overview and hopefully gets you started. Like I said, just get in and play around with it. You can create a test one just like what I did and go through and figure out if you like it, decide if you like the search criteria and stuff. Otherwise, just do your search from the MLS and bring the properties over that way. And you can use it that way. So, all right. Thank you all for being here. Have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.